We're here with the director of Silent Land. Please join me in welcoming Aga Woszczyńska. Aga,
Yes.
welcome.
Yes, welcome to you.
Thank you. You've made a beautiful film and a disturbing film in some ways also. One thing I really liked about it is that it's not simply about bad people and good people, but it's about these small steps that this couple takes downward towards a kind of a collapse, a moral collapse. Can I ask you first, what attracted you to telling this story of this couple?
Well, first of all, as you said, my protagonists are neither good nor bad. They are just simply lost because they are not able to feel. They don't know their own emotions. Actually, paradoxically, someone's death brings them back to life. Someone's death allowed them to feel more. And I made with the same actors my short diploma film called Fragments. And actually, The Silent Land is the continuity of this, because I thought that this 25 minutes, it's not sufficient time to tell about, I call them emotional bankrupts. So I needed more time to tell about it. And I also wanted to tell how people are confronted with the feeling of guilt, that actually they can somehow vanish them, but just, from this level, not from this level. And that's interested me the most.
I'm curious, we've seen this kind of couple, I think, in our daily life. Any big city has people like this who have enough money to be very comfortable, who are very kind of precise in the way they live their lives. They take very good care of their bodies. They're exercising all the time, and they're used to controlling their world. But is there something specifically Polish also about the couple in the film?
No, actually, I made the film about Polish couple because I'm from Poland, so it's obvious, but I wanted to make this film as most universal as I could.
Okay. Well, it certainly does resonate, I think, here in Canada, and I think in many places around the world as well. I want to ask you next about technique. The film is very precisely composed. The framing, the blocking of the characters, the production design, you create a kind of a very tense atmosphere from the very beginning. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about how you use the different elements of film technique to create that mood.
Well, so once again, I have to go back to my diploma film, because I made it with the same cinematographer, Bartek Świniarski, very talented one, and with the same actors that plays Anna and Adam. So with me and Bartek, my cinematographer, we didn't have to discover ourselves, because already we knew what we are doing. And since the first, my short films at film school, I wanted to provide something that I can call slow cinema, that it's that you have time to ask some questions, but you don't have the answers. And actually, to me, it's the most important is image, because I would like the image to communicate more than just the image. It's supposed to communicate meanings, tensions, and emotions. And that's why we decided also with Bartek that the first part of the film, before the accident, we won't be close to the characters at all, because they are also not close to themselves. Just after the accident, we can see some close-ups, but not every time, just because people are not so close to them. That, when the film passes, we are closer and closer to characters. Also, the lack of music was very important to me. From the very beginning, I knew that I don't want to use music, because to me, music is like, it emphasizes your feelings. It tells you what to feel. It tells you when to cry. It tells you when to laugh. And for me, my sound is actually a soundtrack, but this is a soundtrack that doesn't tell you what to think.
Interesting. I found it really interesting also how you positioned your actors and the characters' bodies within the frame. You talked about not using close-ups at the beginning and only towards the end as they're beginning to open up emotionally. I was also interested in how you shot the migrant worker, the Arab man who's living in Italy in a very dangerous position for him. And when he dies as a result of this accident, it feels like he's not, he almost doesn't have a presence in the
Definitely,
world there.
yes.
And when you show his body, his shirtless body, for instance, it almost felt like that shot in itself was showing both his vulnerability within the society, but also how he could be seen as a bit of a threat to the couple. And I just wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about how you shot the bodies in the film.
Well, you're right. With the Rahim, it's like that he's a kind of he causes irrational fear. It's not a fear. They don't have anything to be worried about, but they are so used to controlling the world, and they are used to this sense of security. That's why they hire the house with CCTV cameras, and everything. So I wanted to show him as person who actually it's innocent. He does not any reason to cause the fear in my characters. That's why we have the scene when he's giving a water to the dog, and the scene when he's working. And I wanted also to play with the viewer, to make the viewer think at the beginning that there may be some sexual contact between Rahim and Anna, and that I like this, but then we say it's not like this, but this is a kind of a play. With my main characters, Anna and Adam, I call them like they are from IKEA commercial. And I chose them, first of all, because they are great actors, and because I made with them the previous film and I wanted to continue it. But also I want to show the typical white man, and that's why I treat their body like this, that they are pale, that they are white, that they are clean, and maybe disgusting even somehow for some viewers in this point.
What can you tell us about the scene near the end of the film when this couple is having dinner silently? They've been through a lot already, and then they're joined by, I'll just say, a visitor, for those who maybe haven't yet watched the film. But is there anything you can tell us about the end of the film and what that meaning is for you?
Well, that meaning for me is that visitor will always be between them. I mean, that even though when they come back to Warsaw, well, first of all, I have to tell you about how I see Adam. I think that Adam, he's the only person that changed. Anna, she doesn't have courage to change. So I have more hope for Adam to come back to Warsaw and change than for her. But still, we don't know what will happen when they come back to Warsaw. Whatever will happen, even if they will stay with each other, this visitor will always be between them. So they cannot vanish him from their life.
That was certainly the sense that I took from it as well. There are all of these layers of meaning in your film, I found anyhow, and one of them might be in the name. They're not called Adam and Eve, but the man is called Adam, and they rent a paradise in Italy and they destroy their own paradise.
Adam and Anna.
I know it's not Adam and Eve.
Okay.
But I just wondered if there was any slight hint of a paradise that they destroy because of their own actions.
Where actually it's like, if I could sum up the film, it's like about ideal couple that comes to ideal place, but nothing is ideal, But I really, to be honest, I didn't have, it's really nice what you said, but I didn't think about this, but thank you.
Okay, no, it's I think viewers will find many different things in it because you put a lot of layers in, and even if it's something you didn't intend, I think sometimes people will take that from it.
Well, when you're making film for 5 years, to me, I don't have any reason and to make a film just about the couple. You know, to me, it's important to make the film about couple, but it's like also about the meta level of the story. So that's why I'm happy that you found so many meanings in my film.
I wanted to also ask you about the town that they're in and the people of this Italian resort town, who are very concerned with preserving the tourist paradise image of the town, and they will do some very disturbing things to try to make sure that that image is preserved. Can you talk a little bit, because Adam and Anna have their own moral failings, but the people of the town do as well.
You know, when I was writing this film, I didn't even could expect, because I wrote it as a kind of dystopian story. When you have army and policemen on the streets, then pandemic time starts, and I can see army and police on my street. So it made this film even more actual, actually. And so it was made like this. But you asked me about the character. So nobody is actually bad and good in this film. You can consider policemen as a bad people because they don't care about the body, or paramedics who says this is kebab in the swimming pool, or my protagonist. But actually it's like, or my French couple also.
Yes.
So I would like to present diversity, that we cannot consider them as only bad or only good.
Let me ask you about the French couple. I'm interested also in casting Jean-Marc Barr. How did he come to be a part of the film?
Yeah, I love to answer this question, because I knew from the very beginning that I want him, but I was a little afraid if he would say no. It's like, my diving, being me a diver ended up 30 years ago, so I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. Well,
no.
Is that why, let me just ask, is that why you wanted him from The Big Blue many years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I wanted him as he's looking right now. Right. Because I wanted a person who is looking like a very calm yoga person, even, that actually inside is kind of evil. Maybe not evil, but he's doing everything for money, so we can say it's evil. Actually, it's like the couple, Anna and Adam and Claire and Arnaud, they are totally different. The look is different, the way of living is different, but at the end, they are very similar, because every one of them is thinking only about themselves.
Yes.
And with Jean-Marc Barr, he has two qualities. He is very professional, and he's very nice, although he's very famous. And I adore to work with him. Actually, I adore to work with everybody. I don't know if it's the case of casting or the energy and love we had on the set. I think that both, but the work with them was wonderful.
You said 5 years making this film, and you had made your short film before. I want to ask you about spending so much time with such difficult characters, unpleasant characters in a way. This is, as you said, a kind of a dystopia. You don't seem like you're this kind of person. You seem like a very, happy person in many ways, but you spent a lot of time with some really unpleasant people making this film.
Yes, but I would like to defend Adam. I would like to defend Adam because he's the person who's changing. My cinematographer told me, "Wow, Aga, after this film, everybody would say you don't like men." And I said, "No, I love men." And I'm with Adam. I love his change, and I think that he's really brave and strong man at the end.
Yes. One of the hardest things, I think, is when you're in a relationship is to change even if your partner is not changing. And Adam does do that.
Yeah.
Very hard thing to do. You mentioned your film school earlier. This is the Lodz Film School in Poland?
Yeah.
Okay. Very famous film school. Can you tell us a little bit about attending that school, making films there, and just the history of that school as you were there at the time?
Yeah, we'll have, like, the time that I spent at the film school was wonderful. And not only about professor, but mostly about the people who studied there, and people from all over the world studied there. I have two friends from Canada, actually.
Okay.
One was on my year, so Polish Canadian, not just Canadian. Mexican, Korean, and that you can, exchange with them your thoughts, and you can see that this person is totally different from you. It learns you to be humble, actually, and it gives you a lot of good energy. Of course, like, nothing is perfect, sometimes you have two old professors or something. But I really adore my artistic supervisor, which is Philip Bayon, and I really learn a lot from him, and I'm really grateful to him and other professors as well. Yeah, it was amazing time.
I'm glad to hear that. The last thing I want to ask
what I wanted to say also,
yes, no,
that
please.
I didn't feel at all any underestimated because I'm a girl, not a boy, because sometimes people are asking this question, and it was full equality.
I'm glad to hear that also. The last thing I want to ask you is about the kind of filmmaker that you are now and the kind of filmmaker you want to become. You mentioned earlier, I was interested to hear you say that you enjoyed playing with the audience at a certain point with the film. And some of the best filmmakers in the world, Hitchcock or Bong Joon-ho and many, many others also play with the audience. Do you have a sense of how you would characterize your relationship to the audience as a filmmaker and what kind of filmmaker you want to be?
I don't want to be easy filmmaker.
Okay.
That's for sure. And I want to ask questions, but not give the answer, ask the very tough questions. As I told you before, that for me, it's very important not to tell the story just about the characters, but something that is more behind. Like my next feature will be about two couples, and in the background, there is a world catastrophe that is happening. So to me, it's the most important thing just to use myself as a director to tell about important things. And this is really important to me. You asked me about the playing with the viewers. Of course, I think it's very, I would like to make films that will be even more intense and tension that Silent Land is. I would like to make my approach to make more thriller or things. But I would like to make films when art house meets genre.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the best definition.
That's a kind of a perfect intersection for a lot of people, for me as well. I love those kinds of films. Aga, thank you so much for bringing the film to the festival. Thank you for making it. I'm very pleased it's part of the platform competition as well.
I'm so happy and honored. Yeah.
Oh, well, we are as well. I think you're going to have a very long, productive career ahead of you, and I'm glad that we have your debut feature here. Aga Woszczyńska, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
I hope so too.
Yeah.